there, this is Fun with Research, and I'm Susan Beyer with Audience Audit. Thank you so much for joining me today. We've been talking recently about a lot of research into thought leadership and agencies and building a reputation. And we've talked about sort of the impact of thought leadership on agency performance. I want to talk today about niche. Because it's one of the other things that continuously comes up in our research as something that is important, both for agencies and for any type of thought leader. So today we're going to talk about the benefits of niche for business development. I know a lot of folks sort of struggle with this idea of niche because it really narrows your focus, and people fear that it is sort of narrowing their opportunities as well. Certainly, there's lots of evidence to prove that that is not the case. We've experienced that here at Agency Audit, but let's sort of run through some of the reasons that niche is powerful for business development. The first one is that it tells you, having a strong niche tells you where to focus your business development efforts. It tells you the audience you need to be talking to. It tells you the problems that you need to be focusing on. My friend Drew McClellan of Agency Management Institute counsels folks to develop a Dream 25 prospect list so that you can really focus your efforts on the ideal customers that you want. Virtually impossible to do that if you don't have a niche, because if you don't have a niche, your ideal prospect could theoretically be anyone. And so you cannot focus your business development efforts, and you end up wasting a lot of time sort of trying to be all things to all people. Secondly, a niche strongly demonstrates that you are a specialist. And this is differentiating both for thought leaders and for agencies. It sets you apart from the pack. This is something that we repeatedly see in research as being important to clients and to audience members. They want someone who is a specialist. The third is that having a niche actually generates word of mouth within the audience that you want to reach. People are surprised to find someone who's really focused on what that person does, the industry that they're in, the challenges that their organization faces. That is really differentiating. And as a result of this concept of reciprocity, people who find a specialist in their area like to share that they know a specialist. They like to tell others in that same industry or with that same challenge or that type of organization about specialists that are there to help them because they are different, because they do stand out from others. One of the best things about a niche for new business is that new business tends to come to you. If you're out there talking about your niche and your resources are about that niche, what happens is that this word of mouth generates people who are being directed to you. So you have to do less outbound selling because people have heard of you in your niche, which is a lovely thing. If you run a business, you know how nice it is to have ideal prospects coming to you instead of you having to go find them. One thing people don't think about often with a niche is how it allows you to invest in understanding your audience. So whether you're doing research for your thought leadership to demonstrate that you understand an audience, whether you have a podcast and you're choosing guests to participate, the kinds of resources that you are developing, you can actually invest against that effort much more efficiently than you can if you don't have a niche and you're sort of like, what are we going to talk about this week? What kind of resources should we offer? Who should we have as a guest? You're sort of all over the map. And so that niche really allows you to focus those efforts that do take time and energy and sometimes financial resources to do. So we want to make sure that you're being as efficient as possible. All of this too builds trust. And trust is what audience members, prospects, and clients want with their thought leaders and with their service providers. Trust is the fundamental thing that's making these relationships work. And when you are a specialist, when you are repeatedly demonstrating that you know what you're talking about and you're here to be helpful in that particular niche. When you're investing against understanding that audience, that builds a tremendous amount of trust. The word of mouth gets out, and all of a sudden you are a trusted resource in a niche. And that is incredibly important, not just for getting revenue from new clients, but also from generating new revenue from existing clients. If existing clients trust you, they will listen to your advice. They will go further with you, or they will try new programs. They will extend something that's working because they trust you. So a niche is really, really powerful for new business development. And if you haven't gotten to the point where you're ready to do a niche, or you have questions about a niche, please talk to somebody who knows what they're doing with respect to this, because you got to get over that fear that this is something that's going to limit your opportunities, because in fact it will expand them, and expand them dramatically. Next week I'm going to be talking about how a niche impacts operations in your organization, which is another thing that people don't often think about with respect to a niche. So I hope you will join me. Visit us at audienceaudit.com. You can see a lot more research on this topic and resources around it, and we'll see you next week on Fun with Research. Thanks.